Rebecca, welcome to Future Speak. What does the future of work mean for you?
Our eldest daughter is 20. She's in her second year of a business degree. I know that her experience of work won't be like it was for me. For Izzy, she's already saying, I'd like it to be hybrid. I'd like to do some from home. I'd like to work for an agency. And it's just really got me thinking about what life's going to be like for that generation.
It's wonderful to have you here today.
Oh, thanks.
And like I said to you just before we hit record today, I'm really interested in your story and your perspective because I genuinely believe that organisations like yours are going to be at the forefront of the future of work and what it looks like, and also embracing people in the work community that possibly haven't been able to make the most of the opportunities that are out there until now. I work with you guys at Get Ahead VA. You know that I've always recommended you and will continue to do so. The calibre of what you do in terms of supporting business owners is so important to me. You're more than just VAs, but I'll let you explain a bit more about who you are and what you do and why you do it, actually.
Good question. Yeah, lovely to be here, Sam. Thank you. And thank you for always being a cheerleader for us. We all really appreciate that. Love your energy. Yes, so as you said, I run Get Ahead. We're an outsourcing agency. I founded it back in 2010. It was me doing some admin, knowing that there was potential in this business, but sort of really wanting to understand what the demand was like out there. Morphed quite quickly into me managing a team of freelancers. And then back in 2018, we launched as a franchise. So I've been giving individuals the opportunity to scale their own business regionally around the UK. And we launched in Sydney in Australia at the end of last year, which is really exciting. So I guess, like you say, there's real appetite for the support that we offer. There always has been, but we're no longer having to prove that my team will deliver, even if they're not sitting in the office next to the clients. And that's been a huge biggie for me, I think, especially in the last couple of years. Because when we went even to exhibitions, I'd often get, the wise crack of, well, you're virtual. Do you actually, how do I know you're going to deliver the work? And now, of course, I don't need to say that. People are hungry for our expertise because we've been doing it for the last 12 years.
Yeah, exactly. And we often talk, when you and I chat offline, so to speak, about the future of work and the fact that there's huge numbers people talk about. We talk about it as if people aren't affected by it. And the reality is millions upon millions of people are going to be affected by the future of work and are today. What does the future of work mean for you?
I think for me, it's how it's going to evolve. So we just spoke earlier, and our eldest daughter is 20. She's in her second year of a business degree at Cardiff. She's doing a placement at the moment. And I know that her experience of work won't be like it was for me back in the late 90s in a big thriving office with lots of chat and lots of different age groups. For Izzy, she's already saying, I'd like it to be hybrid. I'd like to do some from home. I'd like to work for an agency. And it's just really got me thinking about what life's going to be like for that generation and also the impact it'll have on us. I can already see as a team, the value we're delivering to the workplace and how that's shifted even in the last couple of years. Like I said earlier, the clients now really appreciate our flexibility, our ability to slot in to understand what's needed without having guidance from somebody in person. So it's, really fascinating, but ultimately so exciting. And I think very much that we're here, as we've always been, to support our clients, but we're here to support them on a really interesting journey.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? This is a journey, and none of us know where it's going or how it's going to get there, and even what there looks like at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say has changed? We're now coming out of the pandemic. Some may say that we're now, it's more endemic than pandemic. Have you seen a change in recent times, in recent periods?
I've certainly seen clients that have embraced the support they're getting and are looking to the future and reevaluating rather than just accepting the support that they've got. So they're probably is a confidence now to reach beyond the basic support they might have been having remotely. So I've got one client in particular who can really see the value in the support we've given, and it's given him a confidence to think, actually, I can outsource some HR now, I can do something else rather than being reliant on the ways they've worked in the past and their smaller network. And I think you would agree with me, the activity on LinkedIn is huge, isn't it? We could spend a day on there. There's so much noise as well, and that can counterbalance it as well. So I sort of think for me, it's being much more boundaried about where we're spending time, who we're investing in, but it's also exciting, sort of the different variety of businesses that are coming our way and that are open to reviewing how they work and how we can sort of support them ongoing. So they are looking to the future more.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And obviously, we talked a moment ago about people looking to the future more, the impact that it's having on the next generation, say your daughter. As a business owner, what are you most excited about? What do you see as the opportunities for you as the future of work continues to unfold and emerge and we learn new and wonderful things?
Good question. I think what's exciting are the types of businesses that are being born, so to speak. So I'm looking at some of the startups and the energy that's coming with those entrepreneurs that are heading those up. And there are guys and girls in their 20s that have got amazing ideas that are getting the funding, that are making things happen. It seems that people are actually taking action and things are growing and becoming something rather than just sort of a vague idea and we'll see how it goes. There certainly seems a lot more energy in making things that are sustainable and actually got an opportunity to grow. And that's exciting for us when we can see that shift with clients and how we can support them and be involved in things that are really emerging at a fast pace. It just seems there's more energy, isn't there, I think?
Yeah, I agree with you, actually, that we're seeing a lot more energy as well in the marketplace and a lot more appetite for people to make money on their terms.
Exactly.
And it was interesting, actually. I had a conversation with someone last week and we were talking about ambition, and they said, I don't like the word ambition. And then we talked about actually what that means. And I was saying ambition to me is this year building that community of 30,000 people who will get to know each other. Obviously, you can't get to know 30,000 people, but within that community, sub-communities that will support each other, build one another up, refer work, learn from each other. And conversely, as part of that, ambition is for us helping founders be successful on their terms. Even words like that now have come along a long way forward, I think, because I agree with the comment last week. Words like ambition were previously actually quite negative. It had a quite selfish connotation.
Yes, yeah.
And that's changed, hasn't it, in terms of the opportunity when we look at the future of work?
Oh, totally. And I think empowering is sort of an odd word as well, isn't it? But I think there is so much opportunity and people are allowed to navigate their own way forward, aren't they? There's not, that's the challenge in quite the same way. And the conventional path that we all lead is interesting. So, my husband was 60 a couple of weeks ago. I look at a 60-year-old, even 10 years ago, and you would have said, oh, you'd be packing up shop soon. Well, for Martin, that's certainly not the case. And even if it was, he wouldn't want it. It's just there's so much more for the getting, isn't there? And we're open to learning and meeting. And I love what you said about the 30,000 community. It's finding those different people that are going to, I don't know, we're just more hungry for learning and developing, aren't we? Rather than thinking, I've done that now, I'm going to pack up and retirement isn't really a word on anyone's lips either.
No. And personally, I think we talked about energy earlier on.
Yeah.
That seems to be a common theme. 60 some may say is new 50 is a new 40. We hear things like that a lot. They're a little bit cheesy, but actually it comes from a good place, doesn't it?
Oh, no, totally. No, absolutely. And I think I don't feel we're as ageist. If I look at my team, we've got a huge range from people that have recently graduated through to, I guess, individuals that have possibly sold businesses, done other things, and you don't just have that two careers in your life either. When I'm looking at my potential franchisees, our opportunity is the next stage for them, and it'll be interesting to see where that takes them. It's not a sort of you buy this and then that's it then. It's sort of just everyone's got different opportunities coming their way, and how they evolve with that's really fascinating. And I see that with clients and my community that I've sort of built up locally as well as online.
Yeah, and that community is a huge part of the opportunity.
Yeah.
And a lot more collaboration, a lot more multiple income streams as well, that people are now no longer reliant on that. Okay, I'm going to work here for 20 years and get my carriage clock at the end of it. That's gone.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just like we keep going back to energy. It's sort of understanding the different bits of your world that give you energy in different ways. And I think the online community has really opened up, hasn't it? The ability to be more efficient with your time. But I feel my whole world so much broader in the last couple of years. I've got access, easy access, and the whole global bit for me is amazing as well. Having chats with various people in Australia, and it's just part of my daily life. Or perhaps even a couple of years ago, it would have felt like a sort of momentous thing to do that. I sort of feel privileged that the access is so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. We're a global community. However, it seems a lot smaller than it did previously.
Yes.
One point you've mentioned earlier, which is boundaries. Mm-hmm. And boundaries are part of the challenge, aren't they, in terms of where's some of the issues or things that we need to be aware of and manage. And around the boundaries come, you've just mentioned you're working with Australia. I work UK and US. The hours in the day then, they become a huge challenge, and there are boundaries around that we all need to respect a bit, maybe a bit more.
Yes. No, I agree. And for me, it's sort of mapping out, looking at my week, or being respectful of Australia needing a call with the team, and my team, should I expect them to be available in the evening to have that call? And there's a bit more sort of consideration. And I've observed myself, picking up the phone and ringing. And I look at my kids' generation; they never use the phone. It's totally not what you do. But I still love the energy I get from picking up the phone. But I'm also possibly more aware now that that person might be doing something completely different. Perhaps I need to do a little bit of warning to book myself in. There's spontaneity, and then there's observing boundaries sort of mixed in with that.
Yeah, and it is part of it's not a new society, but the way we behave, the way we operate, I agree with you, there's something actually almost momentous now about picking up the phone to phone someone. And it's still a digital device. And I remember 20 years ago where it was one of those, plinkety-plonk box on your table, and you had a dial and you went like that. I mean, youngsters today, when they see the old-fashioned phones, don't know how to use it. And you think, gosh, haven't we come so far? But that is part of the boundaries now. Where's that etiquette, I guess? And where does that lie?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And if I book a call in, it generally will be a Zoom one. And actually, it's quite refreshing sometimes just to have the non-audio, the non-video, and you be able to sort of concentrate on other things. But yeah, it's interesting. And there are almost so many ways to organise your life, aren't there? Trello, Slack, all these different things. And it's, again, that magpie bit. I better try this because so-and-so's doing that. And it's going back to those basics of what works well for you individually, for the team, and not recreating things just for the sake of it being something new. And I know that's where you've been so helpful, Sam, with bringing some of my team back to the basics rather than getting carried away with too many systems. It's actually, right, what do you need to achieve? How are you going to do it? How are you going to monitor that? And that's really refreshing.
Yeah. And certainly I see that as one of the challenges with my range of clients I work with, is just that there are so many platforms, there are so many things they could use. And actually, by asking some of the simple questions, you can come away with powerful solutions and powerful answers for yourselves in order to be able to continue to accelerate your business and keep up with the change that's coming, and that we are experiencing today.
Yes.
And that's a huge part of it. As a business owner and someone that works across so many sectors, what are you seeing as some of the emerging challenges that other business owners are grappling with that have arisen, I'd say, in the last year or so?
I think an element of it is often resourcing and choice. So there seems to be so many more businesses similar to ours. So selfishly, if I look at, outsourcing and virtual assistants being the entry point, there are so many people that thought, oh, that's a quick, good option. I'll do that. So I can see some businesses being drawn into perhaps working with people that perhaps they might not have done before because it's a quick win or it's an easy thing to do. And that's interesting. So sometimes there could be a convenience versus quality dilemma sometimes, rather than doing a little bit of research and sort of feeling comfortable with the choice. I don't know. I think that goes back to the whole noise. Like we said on LinkedIn, there's just so much, look at me, I can do this. And it's, I think the recruitment bit's a challenge for people. And of course, you connect with individuals and people say they can do something, but then it's sometimes they've got the magpie bit where they've got tempted by other things. I think there's sort of quite a lot of that going on.
Yeah. And I agree with you about the magpie bit. It's I wouldn't say it's harder than ever, because it's about communicating in the right way.
Yeah.
And that authenticity is what brings success today.
Yes.
And just by being you. And it's interesting, isn't it, when you see people use what I say grown-up words and very vanilla phrases, and you can tell that they're actually afraid to be putting themselves out there, where actually more than ever, I think people are buying from people.
Yeah, 100%. So it's then, and I'll often talk to my franchisees about, getting their personality across. I give them lots of tools, lots of content, but the last thing I want is them just pumping that out. They need to have an opinion about something. And you're right, you respect personally the people that you're observing when they've got something really useful to say. And I had a guy today message me, sent a generic email, but before that he'd sent me a personalised video with a lovely message on it. And I really respected that, because he was warning me what was coming into my inbox. But he said, made reference to things that we've discussed about in the past. And that's the other thing I'm finding. It's how there's so many ways of actually absorbing information, aren't there? So there's thinking voice messages on WhatsApp, which do my head in. Then there's a video, but it was lovely because I was able to look at that video while I was doing something else. But I respected the genuine connection when there's often so much, like you say, the vanilla of a quick message that's sent to hundreds of people without it being personalised. So there's real room for people buying from people, developing those relationships and investing the time and being natural about it.
Yeah. And it's not easy. And I find it really hard to turn up as me sometimes. But the more I get into it, the more I realise, talking about things about the menopause, my hair falling out, the fact that I've got a rubber ring around my waist and, all of those kind of things, it brings humour and a certain vulnerability that then enable people to connect with me and relate to me in a way, kind of, okay, I get where she's coming from. I like her style. I'm happy to connect and talk to her. And that then turns into business. Yes,
because you've been vulnerable to a degree, haven't you? And I know, again, on LinkedIn, the lady put post up last night about the issue she's had in the last 6 months. And I really respected that. And then that got me into a conversation with her because I felt she'd spent the time and was open. Therefore, my response was valuable to her. And it was important for me to spend some time doing that rather than everything's great in my world. And it's a falseness, isn't it? Sometimes I think it can be quite irritating.
Yeah. And we can all see through it.
Yes,
and the
I
trouble
know.
is,
I know, that's the irony, isn't it? I know.
so when we look at the future of work for you as a business owner,
Yeah.
what are you most excited about from an opportunistic perspective?
I think for me, it's the global expansion. So if I'm looking very sort of small town at us, it's how we can make an impact globally. And I hadn't ever really thought that. And that's certainly shifted in the last year, 18 months. And it all boils down, doesn't it, to who you know. And I wasn't looking for an opportunity in Australia. It was good friends of mine that connected me with somebody. So I find that quite magical, how those sorts of things come about. And I think for me, there's other, that suddenly makes Canada an opportunity. I'm speaking to somebody in Ireland. I feel that the world's a smaller place in many ways than I used to think. And we've taken our kids to Australia a few times. We're going this Christmas, and they're privileged to have had that opportunity. And they often say, I hadn't quite anticipated how small the world was. Australia does feel a million miles away. So that's interesting for me, that actually to think that we could be making an impact. I could be providing opportunities for work for people outside my sort of immediate community is really exciting. And that it can work, and that we can offer 24/7 support because we've got the different communities operating.
Yeah, and there's then all the next stage of that is the diversity around that. Different cultures, different opportunities, a different way of thinking in many instances, I should imagine.
Really refreshing. And I'm seeing that already just with the connection with Australia. New ideas coming in that we might not have thought about, that then gets everyone sort of thinking. It's really stimulating. And it's sort of less incestuous in a way. It sort of just opens everything up. And I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does that mean for you personally? Does that mean more travel, embracing more in technology? How will you continue to grow that?
So for me, it's how I can, I guess, develop my personal brand alongside Get Ahead. I won't be orange and leopard print and Get Ahead forever, which is, and I think there's, you suddenly see all those multifacets, don't you, to you, all those different Venn diagrams and how they all connect together. So for me, it's opening up, the travel, looking at investment that will enable us to provide different technologies and be efficient with those across all different regions as well, which I find really exciting. And like we were saying earlier, I was 50 a couple of weeks ago. Again, the 50-year-old, you've got a really exciting time ahead, and I really want to embrace that, because I sort of feel very much that every minute matters, doesn't it, in terms of continually finding the next exciting thing, being the flexible working champion that I feel I am, how I can make that really happen.
Yeah, exactly. And continuing that on a cross-continent basis takes it to an absolutely new level. And I agree with you, that's a lot of what we're seeing today with founders when they're embracing the future of work, trying to work out what it is for them. It's a personal journey.
Yep.
And that's a good thing, because it creates that community. We've talked about energy. It brings that energy together to create something really vibrant.
Yes, and I love that's what I've always hoped for. But I'm totally aware, Sam, I couldn't do it without support from you, for example, and other I don't know how to sort of describe it, but not cheerleaders necessarily. But I've always been very open to bringing people in as and when the business needs it. Yeah. And I think that's critical. You can only be as good as the support and the ideas that are being brought in. And that for me has always been critical. And I love that as well, sort of finding new people to connect with, gaining that energy, adding that to the mix that I support my team with already. And you can't go alone and be blinkered. And that's what's really exciting. I love that thing, when you go to a meeting, whether it's on or offline, and think, I'm going to meet some new people, I'm going to have some new friends. And it's just that approach to business as in its entirety is so exciting.
Oh, it is. And it's wonderful to see all of that come together. So, for example, I met a fabulous lady at the weekend. She's a military wife. She's over from the US, got a fantastic marketing degree and looking for a job. I instantly thought about you guys, and I thought, right, I've got to introduce this lady to Rebecca. But the point is, it goes back to a big world all of a sudden seeming so small,
Yes.
in that talent and that diversity of talent is now coming from any walk of life from across the globe. And quite right too, it's about time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, really exciting.
When you look at how you will morph and evolve as a business owner, and just to sort of bring our conversation together, what are your thoughts on that, other than the globalization, if you like, of your franchise and your team?
So I think for the team, it's me providing them and recognizing what they need personally as well. So I'm very aware that someone can buy, for example, from us, they can buy a franchise, but ultimately I need them to be getting what they need from that. Everyone's got different requirements, haven't they? And I know we've always said that the franchisee needs to make it theirs. And that's what I want for everyone, whether it's one of our virtual experts, whether it's one of my connections through LinkedIn. I want everyone to be feeling that they're getting what they need at that time, with an understanding that things may develop. But it's tricky, isn't it? I hate that people could be inflexible and that they can't get what they need, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We have so much time to dedicate to work. We want to get that balance. There's such opportunity to find the right thing for you.
That's huge, isn't it? It goes back to that whole energy piece, which is so important.
Yeah, which I know you've always recognised in everyone individually, haven't you?
Yeah, and it's important because not everyone has the same level of energy. Not everyone wants to achieve the same things.
No.
And it's about recognising that and then taking that step back, particularly with a franchise, to take that step back and say, okay, well, everyone has their part to play. What is their role in the growth, in the development of this franchise, if any?
Well, exactly. And someone can be quite content doing what they're doing, but if it was someone else in the team, they'd think, I need much more than that, whether it's what they're earning or who they're dealing with or the clients they're attracting. It's fascinating how everyone has their own mark to make on what they're doing. And that's the beauty of a franchise opportunity in many ways, isn't it? You get the business in a box, but you need to make it yours, and people can ultimately see when you are making it your own. And that's what's so attractive then.
Exactly. And that's why I think models like yours will continue to do so well over the next few years, just as you've done over the last few. And I look forward to having you back on Future Speak once you've taken Australia and Canada by storm, and sharing more about how's that's been.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. And I'm really excited about what we're going to learn over the next few years.
Me too. Rebecca, thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful to see you. And I'll catch up with you soon.
I've loved it, Sam. Thank you.